Welcome to the live training tonight. Real quick, what we're going to talk about today, just get it all out there, make this as quick and possible, is we're going to make sure that you are ready for your diet. So if you want to, this is going to be your pre-diet checklist. It's some things that you're just going to make sure that you're going to do, and places that you've been, like check off lists. Like before you go on a trip, you make sure you got like your underwear, your socks, your toothbrush, everything like that. We're gonna do the same thing for a diet because I think it's something that nobody knows. So what I want you guys to do is as soon as you come in, just say what's up in the comments so I know who's here. So I know I'm talking to somebody. I see there's some people here already. But pretty much this is your pre-diet checklist. So if you're not ready to go into a diet, one, you're gonna figure that out. Two, we're also going to have some actual takeaways, because if you haven't done this, there are some things that you can just start checking away, make sure that you're doing them. It's not like an all or none thing. And I think this is one of the things that most diets never get right. They, throw you right into a deficit. They have you start tracking points, or you have a point system, which puts you into a calorie deficit. That starts putting, like 1,200 calories. It just, you got to be in that. You go to your BMR calculator, or you put in my fitness pal and it just says start eating 1,400 calories. What does that even mean? If I want to lose 20 pounds in 3 weeks, it's going to tell me to eat like nothing. Doesn't mean it's healthy. What is up, Robin? What's up, Jessica? Thank you guys for commenting. But here is your pre-diet checklist. So this is when you're going to go into a fat loss phase, a calorie deficit, a cut, whatever you want to call it. Okay. The biggest thing, and probably the most overlooked, before you go into any deficit, you should not have recently dieted. So if you're jumping from diet to diet to diet to diet to diet, and you never take any time off, or you never find maintenance or homeostasis or balance, that is a very hard stressor on your system. So if you're like, all right, I'm ready to lose weight, I'm super excited, I'm all gung-ho. Well, if you just came off of Whole30, where you were eating nothing but spinach and mustard or whatever you can have on Whole30 and chicken, and you're like super hungry, your hormones are all over the place, your cravings are crazy, your hunger levels are crazy, you're not ready to go into a diet. You should not go into another diet. You should not go into a deficit. If you're jumping from Weight Watchers back to calorie counting to, keto or something like that, where you're constantly stressing your body in different ways, your body's just adapting to that. So going into another calorie deficit just is not, what I would recommend. What's up, Terry? All right. So kind of an easy one is if you haven't been dieting for at least 2 months, check. I'm ready to move on to the next one. All right. So the second one, oh man, I lost it. The second one that's really important is, do you have your strategy? Or actually here, that's actually 3. Sorry. Number 2 is, what maintenance is, what your maintenance is, so that you're not guessing when it comes into a calorie deficit. So another thing too is like being in a slight calorie deficit is the only way to lose fat. That's like prove it. The only way to lose weight and fat is to be in a calorie deficit. All right. So if you guys believe me, hit the like button right now. If you don't believe me, what are some other ways that you can lose weight without being in a calorie deficit? Let me know. Post that in the comments if you know any ways that you can lose weight without being in a calorie deficit. And I'm not here to be a smart ass. Like I'm very open. I would love to know. But until then, if someone knows, again, I'm waiting for the comment. There is that 10-second delay, so I'll give you guys in a second. But other than that, know what your homeostasis is, know what your balance is, know what your maintenance is. Don't guess. Don't let a computer calculate it for you. Find out what it is for you. So for most people, it's super simple. Like, hey, I haven't really gained any weight for a couple months. I haven't really lost any weight for a couple months. Awesome. Just track exactly what you've been eating and what you've been doing, your exercise. So if you like, your maintenance is consistently getting 5,000 steps a day and working out 2 times a week and eating 1,800 calories of, Culver's and mac and cheese and chicken and tuna creations or something like that. If that's what you're consistently eating throughout the day and like going to get drinks and whatnot, just track it. And then that's your maintenance. If your body hasn't changed for a while, that's your maintenance. If it's in an ideal spot, awesome, cool. You might be closer to a diet than not. If it's at like 1,200 calories, going lower is probably going to be a strain on your body. It's going to be a more stress. You're going to have start having things where your hair thins out. Your skin might get more oily or less oily. It might have acne. Your nails might be more brittle. It's like literally your body's not getting enough nutrients. So the only way you could do it is go through a reverse diet. And I've talked about that in the past. That's not what tonight's about. So tonight's not about a reverse diet. But you need to find your maintenance. So check number one, you haven't dieted for at least 2 months. Check number two, you know what your maintenance calories are. Because here's a fun thing. So say like I've had a lot of clients that started at 1,200 calories and we worked up to say 1,800 calories. And then like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. This is my maintenance. I haven't gained weight. I feel great. Well, if we would have started there and we go into a deficit, we go down to like say 1,400 calories or whatever a safe deficit would be. Yeah, it's higher than where you were. And yeah, it might be in a deficit, but it might not be ideal for you. So instead, what we do is we push it to 1,900, 2,000 calories, 21, 22, 2,250, 2,300. And then they finally gain weight. Cool. Now we know for certain, based off your lifestyle, your calories in and your calories out, and your weight going up on the scale, that 2,300 is a caloric surplus. Let's say slight caloric surplus. It's not going to be a crazy, like, you're not going to gain 5 pounds in a day. It looks like gaining half a pound consistently for 2 weeks. Cool. You're in a caloric surplus. Now we know. But if you don't know that, you're kind of shooting in the dark. And when you're shooting in the dark, you're guessing, you're hoping, and you're praying. And then the odds of you sustaining it or being in a healthy place just go down a little bit. It just makes it not ideal. So 1, you haven't dieted for several months. 2, you got a strategy. 2, you found your maintenance. You know what your maintenance is. So when you go into it, you now have 3, which is a deficit strategy. How long are you going to be in it? What is the caloric deficit? How are you going to accomplish that caloric deficit? What are you going to do while you're in there to make sure that you don't fall back? Because when you go into a calorie deficit, your energy levels are going to go down. Your hunger levels are going to go up because you're not eating as much. You're going to be more hungry. It's going to be more challenging. So what are you going to do in that moment? You need to have a clear identified path so that you don't go and, oh man, I was so hungry and I stopped at, Burger King on the way home. And instead of just getting like a salad, I got a Whopper with 3 fries and a large Coke and a diet and a dessert and whatever. And you just went overboard. Have a plan. Like, all right, when I'm hungry, I'm going to hit this first and I'm going to wait 10 minutes and then I'm going to be able to have more of this or whatever. Or I'm going to have my calories at 1,800 and then this is my shut off switch. I'm going to drink this beverage. It's going to end my night. For me, it was something called Burn PM, which is a PM fat burner. But it's more of just a satiator, makes you feel full. It's just my cutoff switch. It's from Prestige Labs. If you want to know more about it, I got time. But another one is Calm. It's a magnesium supplement. I just take that. Cool. I'm not eating anything after I'm done drinking my Calm. You could have sleepy time tea, a nice chamomile tea to calm down your body. It's just a cutoff switch. When I hit my calories, I'm done. So that's my strategy while you're in it. Okay. So what's your calorie deficit going to be at? Like, what foods are you going to eat? What are you going to take away? What are you going to add? Are you just going to be solely focused on the macros? Are you still going to be eating those salads and other things that make you feel full? Are you going to like say fuck it to my steps every day because you're so tired you naturally don't move as much? So those come down, because if any of those things change, it's why people go into a calorie deficit and they don't lose weight. Typically their activity level drops, their desire drops, their active drops, their sleep gets worse, which makes it harder to lose fat when you're not getting high quality sleep. So what are you going to do to make sure that your sleep routine is going to be in a good spot? These are all strategies that you should think about before you go into a deficit. And I think that's another one that most people mess up. Like, hey, I joined Weight Watchers today. I'm eating this. Well, man, life kind of sucks. I can't have any of the things that I really want. And if I have that one coffee drink or that one dessert, that's all my points for the day. And now I'm a failure because I'm going over my points compared to, all right, like if I have that, what else can I have on top of it? It's like I remember with Weight Watchers, say like, I think chicken's like 0 points. Cool. I'm going to go have that. And then I'm going to have chicken and spinach in a salad today. That's all I can like afford for my calories or whatever. But have a strategy. Number 4 is have an exit strategy, something that you're already looking forward to. So for me, I had a postseason. I did a calorie deficit right up to the week of Thanksgiving. And then for that whole next week, I worked out less, I ate more. And guess what happened on the scale? Nothing. I weighed out at 198. This morning, I'm at 200. but it's just water because I'm eating way more food than I've ever had. I also don't want to get into too much information, but I need to go to the bathroom. All right. Like I'm just eating more. I have more food in my system. That's where the 2 pounds is. It's not fat gain. Okay. So my exit strategy was enjoy the week of Thanksgiving. And then I'm back to business on Monday, which is today. A lot of people have an exit strategy. It's like, all right, I'm going on vacation. I'm having a postseason. For every bout of stress, you need a bout of recovery, and a bout of recovery might just look like a vacation. It might look like a trip. It might look like a holiday. It might look like a weekend, like a girl's weekend, a night out, a date night, whatever. It could be anything, but have an exit strategy so you know what you're going to do the week after. What most people do is like, all right, well, now I'm done. I hit my goal. Now what? And I just go back to living how they were before. And then the weight slowly creeps up because they didn't have a strategy to get back into like, healthy habits, the habits that got them to that place. And that's what it is. It's a habit. It's a lifestyle. It's not something you just go on and off. So when people are like, hey, Ryan, are you on a diet or something? I'm like, well, no, I'm not on a diet. My diet is currently 2,500 calories and 200 grams of protein, whatever. That's my macros, my partial macros. Okay. But have an exit strategy. If your sleep sucks, if you're tired all the time, if your mood starts going, like you have crazy mood swings, if your period is different and you start being more stressed, if you're more irritable, all these are signs that you might be too low into a calorie deficit, or they might be signs that you've been in a calorie deficit for too long. And a lot of us have stayed in a calorie deficit for so long that these are normal. We've normalized crazy mood swings and irritability and shitty sleep. And we blame it on our partners and other things like that. When reality is just because your body's fucking hungry. Give it a biscuit. All right. You'll be all right. Eat some fries. But have an exit strategy. That's number 4. And the 5th one, the last one, and then we're done for the night. The 5th one I think is most overlooked is get your mindset in the right place. When's the last time that you guys did like Whole30, or just like in the comments, whoever's here, just mention your diet. And then what was your mindset going into that diet? Like, all right, I'm doing keto. Cool. My mindset was always like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to see how I feel. I'm going to learn from this experience. It was never like, I'm going to be in ketosis for the next 10 years of my life. I would never think that. Bulletproof coffee diet. Yeah, cool. Dude's putting butter in his coffee and gets full for like ever. I'll try it. Let's see what happens. To learn from it. Man, I really don't like the taste of butter in my coffee. It's weird. It's thick. It's rich. I feel like I never need to use chapstick because I had butter on my lips all day. But it was always coming from a place like one curiosity, which could be a good thing, but it could be a bad thing because you're kind of like dipping your toes in other things. Same thing with intermittent fasting. I'm like, all right, I'm going to commit to this. I ended up doing it for 2 years. I ruined my relationship with breakfast. I overate. I had a binge restrict lifestyle forever since then. I'm finally getting over that. And that's actually one of the things that I'm struggling with the most. And so I got up to 2,900 calories consistently for about 3 weeks. And I didn't like it because I was eating so much food. But like I wasn't gaining fat and I was getting stronger. So I was getting healthy gains and strength gains. But I didn't like it because I physically had to eat so much food. So 2,900 calories is a lot for me. If I want to build more muscle, I might have to go up there, but it kind of scares me. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. But have the mindset, if you're going into a deficit, into a cut, you already have your plan. This is a 4-week plan. This is a 5-week plan. I'm going to go in. I'm going to do everything during that 5 weeks. I have this event, this event, this event. This is what I'm going to do. So you go all in for a short period of time. You don't just dabble, you commit to it. You go in for 4 weeks, you lose 4 to 8 pounds, and then you get out. You have an off season, a postseason, and then you have a new goal. And you might be doing these mini bulks or mini cuts forever. If you have like 100 pounds to lose, I would rather, instead of doing 100 straight weeks, 2 years straight of dieting, diet for 3 weeks, have a refeed weekend, have a refeed day, have a refeed week. Maintenance, calorie cut, maintenance, calorie deficit, maintenance, calorie deficit, maintenance, calorie deficit, maintenance, surplus, strength training, calorie deficit. Do those things so that you're stoking the fire, you're keeping it burning at like a high level. But if you do that, you can do anything for a short term. And I think that's where, most of us are at anyway, but we never really commit fully to it. We're always looking for the excuses of why something doesn't work rather than like putting it all on us. Like, hey, I didn't lose weight. I mean, like, yeah, I went to that Packer party and I didn't track that, or, you know, I avoided this, or like, you know, I had my birthday, so I said, fuck it for the weekend. And then, you know, well, you might have eaten 7,000 calories in a weekend. You just said, fuck it. And you're like, why didn't I lose weight? Well, I ate like 1,800 every day, or 1,600 every day, or 1,200 every day. Well, if you had an IPA is like 360 calories for some of those. Like those good tasting beers that I've always liked. Yeah, they're like 300 calories a piece. I got drunk on them. I had 10. I had 3,000 calories plus of beer on top of my nachos. Like, no shit, Ryan. Why didn't you lose weight? So these are the 5 strategies that I think are most important when going into a calorie deficit. I'm just going to stop the recording. So if anybody wants that, and then if you guys have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I